is Drew Tignanelli, President of Financial Consulate. This is our September update for the markets and just a general financial planning topic. And I have a one-word description for this update, and that is patience.
Oh, patience. Okay.
Patience. Right.
It's a virtue, they say.
It is the number one ingredient that is necessary for an investor.
Okay.
Is patience, because markets don't always give you opportunity, and until there's opportunity, you just have to wait it out. And in this market, I think that they've had a lot of good things been thrown at this market. You've had for the most part, housing is starting to recover, stabilize at the very least.
Sure.
They've been waiting for that for some time. Yeah. You've got signs that the Bernanke is going to do quantitative easing 3 and throw more stimulus at the market.
Right.
You've got, they haven't, allowed taxes to go up. Now people are worried about what's going to happen in 2013, I guess, right? But still they haven't gone up. No one's passed anything.
Interest rates have stayed extremely low.
Interest rates, they've been managed to keep interest rates actually even lower than low.
Yeah.
I don't even think they expected them to come down this low.
I think you're right.
And stay there. And corporate profits have been reasonably good. Some companies like Apple have been continuing to blow the numbers.
Tons of cash on hand.
And yet the market still is a good 10% away from its high, and it's struggled to get to where it is right now. Yeah. Yet if you markets just get a little concerned, I mean, it can blow 20% off in this market. It's proven that over the last 3 years.
Still a lot of fear out there.
There's a lot of fear out there, a lot of things to be worried about, you know? And we've talked about many of them in past videos, and I don't necessarily know that we have to go over them again.
Europe.
Europe is one of them, and but you've got plenty here in the United States. You've got a big decision coming that you either allow the quote-unquote, they call them the Bush tax cuts, to expire in 2013. And that is significant, because even the household that makes, let's say, $100,000, which in today's world is not that large household income, their taxes will go up 10 to 20%.
Yeah, they're going to feel it.
They're going to feel it. Just take the child tax credit. The difference between the child tax credit before the Bush cuts and after the Bush cuts was $500 per child.
Right.
So now take our good friend Ben Lewis. You know him?
I do know Ben.
He's our PR guy, and he has 2 children. And
Beautiful children.
He would lose $1,000 in tax credits. That's dollar for dollar. A tax credit is dollar for dollar. A lot of families.
But he loves the government. I think he would be more than happy to do that.
He does tend to vote on the other side of the table than I do. But that's okay. We'll call him a friend anyway.
He is a friend anyway.
Anyway, so... that's significant.
It is.
And the estate tax would go back down to $1 million exemption. Right now it's at $5.12 million. Think about that. That would be a dramatic shift that we would have to go to all of our clients and say, wait a minute, we've got to really make some major shifts here.
30-somethings just with enough life insurance would have a taxable estate all of a sudden.
And you're not just talking about taxable. Anything over $1 million, if we go back to the pre-Bush tax cuts, it would be 55 cents on the dollar for every nickel of estate over $1 million that would go to a non-spouse.
Wow.
So if you leave the insurance to your spouse, you're not going to feel that. But if you leave it to your children, and let's say it's $2 million of insurance, and you're 30-some years old, and God forbid both of you pass away, your children inherit $2 million, they would lose $550,000 of that life insurance to the federal government if you didn't have it planned out properly.
I can tell you're a big fan of this tax just from the tone of voice.
I hate the estate tax. I mean, literally, there's only one other tax that I hate more, and that's the alternative minimum tax.
Right.
Which is the one that you figure up your taxes, and the government says, wait a minute, we're not sure that that's the tax you ought to pay. We want you to figure it under this alternative method, and if the alternative method is more, we want you to pay more because we feel that even though we passed these tax laws, they work too much in your advantage, so therefore we want you to pay this tax instead of
You've
that
got too
tax.
good of an accountant. Listen, I apologize for getting you riled up on your two favorite taxes.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you are. You have a knack for this, Maurer.
Yeah, I know.
And anyway, so I'm concerned. I think that in 2008 the markets could have easily dropped by 90% if they would have allowed the world to just kind of implode, which is what the free market wanted it to do.
Right.
And that's a whole topic in itself that I think would be fascinating.
It is.
Is that everything government is trying to accomplish today, such as break the big banks up.
Right.
The market was going to do in 2008.
Right.
So instead of letting the market do it, they stopped it, and now they're trying to do it through Dodd-Frank and all kinds of crazy policy that's absolutely worthless, and everyone figures out how to manipulate around. They would have never got around the market in 2008 if they would have let it do what it needed to do. So you have this market now, an economy that's trying to correct itself. And so you get this, I think I said it in 2008 after the market imploded, and that was that you got two choices. You can either get sick a lot for an hour, a day or two or a week, or you can be nauseous for 10 years. Yeah. Which do you prefer? And I think we've chosen the nauseous for 10 years. So we're only 5 years into it. So who knows where we're going from here. But I think patience is the word. And that's what we have to focus on. But we wanted to talk about financial planning, too.
Yeah, let's talk about the most important estate planning tool anybody can use.
Yep. So who were you going to tell me?
Would you like me to tell you, Drew? Because I know that you may have forgotten.
Was a quiz as to what whether I knew it or not.
Well, that's how a lot of our conversations go. But no, we're talking about the beneficiary designation. People think that they do all this work in their will, right? They go to the attorney, and this is important work that we recommend. Wills, powers of attorney, advance directives, the three primary estate planning documents. But the most powerful is actually the beneficiary designation form. Why is that more powerful than the will?
Well, the Supreme Court just ruled recently that a guy who got divorced in 1994 and had made his wife in 1994 as the beneficiary of his 401k 5 years before he got divorced, dies 13 years later in 2007 with her name still as the beneficiary.
Never changed
even though she signed a prenuptial agreement, said she wanted nothing to do with his 401k.
Okay.
Not a prenuptial, I mean a divorce decree saying that she wants nothing to do with his 401k. And despite that, when he died, she was still the beneficiary, and the Supreme Court looked at the case and said, sorry, kids, your mom gets all the money, even though that dad wanted you to get all the money. He didn't change it, and the beneficiary designation rules, even though the will clearly shows that you guys were the ones that were supposed to get it, and in his heart he probably wanted you to get it, but he didn't change the beneficiary, and we can't overrule that. That's pretty powerful.
It is.
So that's why every time a client comes in for a personal financial review, we review their beneficiary designations. But another thing, too, is a lot of times a spouse will pass away, and people will start putting their children's names on houses and things.
Right.
That's some of the worst stuff you can do.
So now we're talking about titling.
You're talking about titling now, and titling is the most powerful, more powerful even than beneficiary.
Right.
But beneficiary is a far better way to go. We don't have time to go into all the specifics of this. The point is that your estate planning is critical. When we do your personal financial reviews, we review all of your beneficiary designations because they are so critical.
Yep.
So in summation, patience is the word. I think you still need to be extremely cautious, and even though this market continues to go up, and we're only going up maybe half of what the market's going up, I am not dissatisfied at all, because I am seriously concerned that this thing's all going to fall apart, and the market's going to get its way the way it wants to get.
Right.
Anyway. We still like Ben Lewis, our public relations guy, and hope he doesn't lose that $1,000 of tax credits in 2013. Anyway, this is Drew Tignanelli saying God bless.